Om Namo Narayanaya. We are continuing our read of the Sarasvati Rahasya Upanishad. It is a little less textbook like. So, if the first part was a little boring or technical, this second part is a little less so. I'll just say that. I mean, I haven't read it yet. I'm just kind of cursory giving it a look. And yeah, and it's fairly short. And so here we go. A text unheard the poet's graphs. Sarasvati being he shares. Sarasvati thus spoke. Through me even Brahma won self-knowledge eternal. Ever being truth, knowledge, bliss, mine is perpetual Brahmanhood, without let or hindrance. Thence, through equilibrium of qualities, sattva, rajas, tamas, become I, Prakriti. In me Chit's resemblance shines, as reflection in the mirror fair. Once more Prakriti shines threefold wise, through that reflection of the Chit, and as determined by Prakriti, I am Purusha too verily. The unborn in Maya, in which pure Sattva reigns, is reflected. Maya, Prakriti, is, that has Sattva dominant. That Maya is adjunct, wholly subordinate to the all-knowing Ishvara. For his alone oneness over Maya, lordship, and omniscience are, in truth. Being of Sattva made, in essence collective, of worlds the spectator, he is God who holds power to make, unmake, or otherwise make the universe. He has virtues like all-knowingness. Maya has forces too, one projection, the other concealment. The first projects the world, all that which is subtle and all gross. The second veils within the gulf between the seer and the seen, without the gulf between creation and Brahman. Maya causes endless cosmic flux. Nescience appears in witness light, to subtle body conjoined. Spirit and mind co-dwelling there becomes Shiva, phenomenal. His Shivahood through ascription shines forth, also in witness light, together with the fall of what conceals, and so the shining forth of distinction, that Shivahood disappears too. So also through subservience of Brahman to the power which veils its difference from cosmos, Brahman shines forth in mutations. Here too the difference that holds between Brahman and the cosmos shows not. Once Maya's power, which is concealed, falls low. Their difference is in creation. In Brahman, never. Five factors are there here, being, shining, loving, form, and name. The first three to Brahman pertain. Two others constitute the world, leaving aside the last two factors to be intent on the former three. Leaving aside the last two factors. Be intent on the former three, either in the heart or without. Practice always concentration. Twofold is concentration in the human heart, with or without aspects. That with aspects is, then, twofold, conforming to word and object. Desire and its train are objects of the mind. Of them, as a spectator, meditate on consciousness. That concentration conforms to objects. I without taints aim. Being, knowing, loving, I am, self-shining, devoid of duality. To word conforms. Thus concentration with aspects. Abandoning objects and words for joy of deep self-experience, one wins concentration without aspects. A flame in windless spots. Light to concentration in the heart, outside too. In some object twofold concentration takes place without discrimination of name and form from pure being. The third, as said above, takes place when taste of bliss to silence leads. Time may, without a break, be spent in these six concentrations well. With conceit and body gone, and supreme self realized, wherever the mind may roam, there rests immortality. The knot of heart is cut asunder, and all doubts are slain, all modes of action dwindle away, when the Supreme Self is seen. Offended soul, the Supreme God, these notions are to me imputed. They are not real. Who knows this, in truth, is free, doubt is there none. This is the secret wisdom. And thus ends this Upanishad. And that second part was in a poetic form that the first part was not. So my apologies if it was confusing. Let me just see if I can show you. There it is right here. This is the second part that I read, these two columns. And here, that's a not that one, this one. So it may help if you go back and review this. Yeah, I don't like when they do this. It becomes confusing to even me, a native speaker, and we're dealing with concepts that I think are better understood in prose. And whatever. That's neither here nor there. There we go. Another Upanishad. This one to Sarasvati. It's really nice to read about her, even if it's complicated and textbook like.